Yes, I do think a Splice subscription is worth it. And I'm not just saying that because they're also the sponsor of today's video. Full disclosure. I'm saying that because I've been producing music for 14 years now, and I can confidently say that Splice has been an instrumental tool in my creative process as a music producer. So I'm assuming most of you guys know what Splice is, but if you don't, Splice is predominantly a cloud-based sampling library. You pay for a monthly subscription and you get access to over 2 million sounds, which come in the form of kicks, snares, instruments, sound effects, bass shots, whatever you can think of, it's probably on Splice. And what's nice is a lot of these sounds actually come from the producer community. So people like Virtual Riot, Cashmere, Decap, they all have their sounds available to download on Splice. Now you can't just get a Splice subscription and download their entire sample library, although that would be really nice, but instead you get exposure to their sample library in the form of credits, which you receive every single month. Now as a general rule of thumb, 1 credit will grant you 1 sound, but if you're downloading presets like Serum presets, typically it costs 3 credits for 1 preset. Now the number of credits that you receive each month is dependent on the subscription plan that you purchase. The lowest plan, which is what I pay for, will give you 100 credits per month. The largest plan will grant you 500 credits per month. It's also important to know that if you don't use all your credits in a month, they actually roll over to the next month. So they do accumulate over time. However, if you stop paying for your Splice subscription, you won't have access to your outstanding credits. You'll have access to all the sounds you downloaded, but the credits that you have left over, you can't actually use those to get more sounds. It is important to know that because if you do plan to cancel your Splice subscription, just make sure you use all your credits. Personally, I have never run out of Splice credits and I've been paying for Splice for 4 years, and that's on the lowest plan, 100 credits a month. Now, I'm very conservative with my credits though. I'm not the type of person to just go in and download entire sound packs. I'm very picky. Now, if you're the type of producer that does like to download a lot of sounds, then you can easily burn through hundreds of credits in a month. So just keep that in mind. Being conservative with your credits does go a long way. Okay, so now that we have a good understanding of what Splice is, I'd like to give you my personal review on what I like about Splice, but also my criticisms, what I think Splice can improve on. The number one reason why I like Splice is because of the boost in productivity and workflow. Now, most of my sound library looks like this, where the titles of the sounds kind of just give a vague description of what it actually is. So this means if I'm looking for a tonal snare, for example, I have to spend a lot of time just going through different snares, opening up different folders just to find the snare that I'm looking for. Every single sound that's in Splice's database is associated with metadata, whether it be BPM, key, or various tags. And the fact that there is metadata associated with Splice sounds makes it extremely easy to search for exactly what you're looking for. If I need wind chimes, I don't need to dig through my percussion folder to find a wind chime. I can just search for that. If I need an orchestral brass hit, I can search for that and I know it's going to be there in Splice. Now, where Splice does fall short is their search engine. I just find that their search engine is not very good, and it's actually easier for me to find sounds by using Google to search for sounds on Splice. So if I do need something, I will go to Google, I will search for what I need, and then I'll just add on the Splice keyword, and that works really well. Okay, so the second reason why I like Splice is the creativity boost. If you can be more productive, more effective as a music producer, that will just naturally come with a boost in creativity because you're able to get your ideas out more effectively. Not only that, but because Splice has so many sounds to offer, I find that listening to a loop, whether it be a drum loop or a melodic loop, will often be the spark of inspiration which leads to a completely new song. Which leads me to my next point. 3, the loops are dope. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I just think the loops are really good on Splice. One of my favorite loop packs right now is currently the Reworked Soul Selection. I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check that out. There's a lot of really cool old school vinyl loops in this pack, just perfect for like a J. Cole or a Mac Miller type beat. 4th reason why I like Splice, pricing, okay? I think the pricing is very reasonable. Yeah, $10 a month for 100 credits, and like I said, I've never run out of credits. Okay, I believe this is the 5th reason why I like Splice. This one is pretty interesting because my use of Splice has actually extended beyond the scope of music production. And now I'm using Splice for things that I never even intended to use it for. Stuff like video editing. As I continue this journey as an online content creator, I've begun to realize how important having good sound effects are for creating an engaging video. And Splice has been surprisingly good for this because it's very easy to just download sounds and drag them into Adobe Premiere. So I do want to bring up some criticisms because nobody's perfect and no company is perfect. And I do think there are things Splice can do to improve the user experience. For example, the desktop version of the app. The UI looks very good. It's very modern and it's very sleek, but I feel like it lacks functionality. My first gripe with the desktop app is that there is no selective sync. You can't sync to your desktop in groups. So what I mean by that is the files that are not synced or downloaded to my computer, it has this little icon that says sync locally. Whereas the ones that that are added to my library, it has this check mark here and it says it's in my library. If I want to sync these locally, I have to go individual one by one just to click sync here. And if I even click the check marks, there's no button to allow me to actually sync these in a group. So another thing about the Splice desktop is there is a lack of links. And what I mean by that is, for example, if I go into this sound pack right here, I get more information, I get a description of the sound pack, but if I wanted to view this in browser, there's no button to do that here. I would have to copy this, go to Google, search for it, and find it that way through Google. A lot of times when I find a pack in Splice, I like to go to the original creator in order to see if they have any other sound packs I'd like. You know, because I got 1,000 credits here and I want to find ways to spend these. And that's very easy to do in the desktop version because there's a link right here. Okay, it's from Sample Magic. Let me just click that. Okay, and these are their top packs that I can check out. There's actually no link in order to do that in the desktop version. So it's just tiny things like this that if it gets added to the desktop version, it would just dramatically improve the user experience. And then last but not least, I know I already talked about this, but I'll bring it up again. It's just the search bar is not very good. I'm just pasting the soulful vocals right here. If I search that, the pack doesn't come up here. If I do soulful vocals by Sample Magic, it still doesn't even come up here. That's exactly why whenever I look for Splice sounds, I go specifically to Google. It's because if I do that here and add Splice, see, it comes up right here. It's the first thing that shows up. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to my Splice review. I highly recommend you check out this video where I download the #1 Splice sound pack and I make a beat from it. So if you want to see Splice in action, I recommend you check out that video. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.